too heavy.
It's because it's not what you want. That's why it's too heavy. It's too heavy. Right, just give me everything I want. Everything will be okay.
It doesn't say if you do Hashem's will, Hashem will give you what you want. It doesn't say that.
No, it says He'll do your will.
But what has your will become? Your will has become His will.
My will is like a Megillah right now to give you. It's a long list.
That's your want. That's not your.
That's want.
That's not what Ratzon is. Ratzon. That's Shuka maybe. All right, you guys ready?
Today's Nekuda Tova.
Nekuda Tova. All right, let's do Sicha Pei Beis. Take a look at Pei Beis for a second.
Sure.
Is it?
No.
Short but long.
Kamas and Eches. So this is what we're gonna do. Let's read it, and then because it's so short, obviously I don't have that much to say on it.
Yeah.
So we'll give. There's what to say on it. Don't worry. But let's read it, and you maybe you'll come up with some questions or something that we have to delve into. So Pei Beis. Bezos. So Rabbi Nachman's quoting Pasuk in Tehillim. You see it over there. Tehillim Mem Aleph. David Melch in this Tehillim is talking about a lot of his enemies that are chasing him to attack him. And he says there, it's in the middle of the Tehillim, maybe towards the end. Bezos Yadati. With this I know. What do you need, a pen?
No. Yeah.
Bezos Yadati ki chafatzta bi. With this I know, says David Melch, that you want me. Right? Ki chafatzta bi, you want me. You've chosen me. Ki lo yaria oivai alai. Because you have not allowed my enemies to yaria, to sing, to blow the trumpets, and to celebrate over their victory over me. I was victorious over them. Therefore, I know you want me. Says David Melech. Okay? He had a lot of enemies, and he was victorious. Says Rabbi Nachman. We know Rabbi Nachman also had some people who were cholik on him. Because my enemies are not bad. They're tzaddikim who are cholik on me. They argue with me. Bezos yadati. So now he's taking David Melech's words. With this I know, ki chafatzta bi. You desire me, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ad kan sicha pei beis. I mean, we have to. Does he want something from us here? Is there something that he's teaching us? I mean, I don't. Baruch Hashem, I don't have any tzaddikim being cholik on me. Is this not just what David Melech said? Is he saying anything more? Any other questions you have on this before we get into it? What is David Melech saying, and what's Rabbi Nachman saying?
Well, one of them adds in that because they're tzaddikim, but it doesn't say that. It doesn't compare to David Melech's statement. The Melech just said that the enemies that he had, but Rabbi Nachman adds in that they're tzaddikim.
Before even tzaddikim, which is true. We're going to get back to that. Before even tzaddikim, is Rabbi Nachman saying it all what David Melech said? David Melech said, because in the Pashup Pshat, because my enemies did not overtake me, I see Hashem that you want me. I was victorious. Right?
That's not any sense.
Rabbi Nachman said, because my enemies are not bad, they're tzaddikim, I see you want me. How did you get that from David Melech's statement? David Melech says, because I won, clearly you want me. Rabbi Nachman says like a big chiddush, because I see that they're not bad, which is a chiddush because they're attacking him, but because I see that they're not bad, they're tzaddikim, this shows that you want me. Adarabba. I think that if a tzaddik would go after one of us, right, that looks pretty bad, right? Right? If a low-level guy goes after you, okay, it's an Irish guy, he's a big loser. He's a ganav, he's a shakran, he's a liar. So he's just trying to start up with other Jews. So we would downplay it. But if a tzaddik is going after you and saying, he's rodely for you, saying, you know what you're doing is wrong, you're crazy, you're going against halacha, we wouldn't start to say, yeah, Hashem's with you. Adrabah, we'd say, you're in trouble.
I'll get it.
You don't understand my questions? You don't understand what
I
happened?
understand the question.
Now you're stuck. Now it's like, what's going on over here? Should we just skip and go to Big Gimel?
No.
Okay. So now we have to learn. Now we have to understand what he's saying. So Rabbi Nachman learned, and this is going to be Yisodis that we've already discussed, but we're just going to show it over here as well. Rabbi Nachman learned from David Melech the secret of extreme Nekuda Tova. That was the title tonight, right? Extreme Nekuda Tova. So let's go back a little bit into David's life. Let's discuss a little bit where he's holding what he had to deal with. David Melech, in part of his life, he had to deal with a mistake that he made, the mistake with Bathsheba that he made, with the whole mice over there. Whatever it was a mistake. On his level, he calls it a mistake, he calls it a sin. And the Novi is sent to David Melech to say, because of this, you're going to be attacked from within your own house. That was the Nevuah. Comes out, 3 different things, but one of the major issues that David had to deal with was Avshalom, his own son, tried to rebel and overtake the kingdom from David Melech, his own son, from within his own house. His wise advisor, Achitophel, ended up being a big Russia. He also changed sides. Achitophel was David's Rebbe. Achitophel was the Talmud Chacham of the time. He was with David, and then he switched over to Avshalom's side. And Avshalom even took some of David's concubines as his own, right, trying to solidify his position as being the next king. And yet within this whole episode, David HaMelech is always able to see the Tov. The Gemara says in Brachas, I'll read you the whole thing. I'll try to just emphasize, I didn't give you the Gemaras. I'll emphasize the important parts. I'm Rabbi Yochanan Mishim Rabbi Shem Bar Yochai. So we're getting to Lag Bomer, so we keep going Rabbi Shimon. This daf design of a beis in Brachas. Kasha tarbes robes of beiso shall adam yosim mechames gogomago. Says Rabbi Shem Bar Yochai, worse is the ra, the evil that comes from within a person's house, than the war that's going to be with Gog and Magog, which is going to be some kind of devastating war. So it's worse to have evil come from within your own house than the evil comes from outside of your house. Shenemar, Mizmah David Bevarchim Neb Avshalom Beno. David HaMelech in Tehillim says, he sings, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that he was chased, he ran away from his son Avshalom. Uksiv, and it says in the Tehillim, Hashem Ma'rabu Tzari Rabim Kamalai. How great is my Tzara Kadosh Baruch Hu? So many people are coming after me. His own son. David HaMelech laments in Tehillim. But when David HaMelech was referring to, at least Beremes, Gog and Magog, right? He didn't speak about Gog and Magog openly, but it was Beremes, the war at the end of time. Lama Rog Shugayim Lumim Yaigurik. Why are they going to attack, whatever it is, the exact lashon? The ilu marabu tsarai loksev. It does. David HaMelech doesn't say there, woe is to me that tsaras are so great. Where did he say that? Dafka Avshalom, the one who's coming from within his house. Says Rav Shem Bar Yochai, you see that the tarbus ra, the bigger problem is when it comes from within the house than from outside. Whereas you would think Mechemes Gog and Magog is much worse. That's what the Gemara says. So then the Gemara says weiter. I don't know if I really need that part. Mizmor the David bevarchim Avshalom beno. In Tehillim it says Mizmor David. Mizmor David means what? A zemer, a song to David as he was running away from Avshalom beno, as he was running away from his son. Mizmor David is the Gemara. He sang Mizmor. Kino David mi bailei. Should be a kino, like an eicha, lament. David should lament as he's running away. What's he singing about? This guy was a guy cuckoo. Amr B'Shimon ben Avishalom says Reb Shimon ben Avishalom. It was always funny to me that this person who said this maimer was Ben Avishalom, and he's talking about Avshalom. Interesting. What's this a mashal to? A person who has a outstanding debt against him. Before he pays it, he said he has to pay off his debt. After he pays off his debt, he's very happy. So Afkan David, so to David. Since the Kodesh Baruch Hu said to him, I'm going to bring against you Ra, evil, from within your house. David was sad. Omar, he said, David said, Shema Evedu Mamzeru. Maybe the one who's going to come attack me from my own house is maybe one of my avadim, my slaves, or a mamzer is going to come against me, they're not going to have compassion, they're not going to have mercy on me. The understanding is they're going to kill me. Once he saw that Avshalom from his own house, his own son, was the one coming to attack him, Samech, he was happy. Why? Again, the assumption is, the understanding is, the Gemara doesn't say clear, because Avshalom, his son, won't try to kill him. He'll rebel and take over he might put David in jail, but he won't kill David. So David was happy. That's what David had. He sang the song as he was running away. But think about this for a second. David HaMelech has a gzeira against him. Right? He made a mistake. Hey, now there's a gzeira against him that he's vadai going to have to go through difficulties. He's got the difficulties from within his own house, which is going to be really, it's going to be bad. Avshalom is actually attacking him, right? Actually rebelling. David HaMelech is leaving Yerushalayim. I think he was leaving Yerushalayim because he had to run away for the people, whatever it is. Avshalom is going to come take over Yerushalayim. He's running away from Yerushalayim, and he's not so happy about it. And in a certain way, he was crying that he had to leave Yerushalayim. He didn't want to leave Yerushalayim, but yet he's happy. Why is he happy? Because at least the Tarbis Ra Mibeso was not coming from an Eved Mamzer who'd kill him. It's just his son who's going to just take over the country and kick him out and put him into jail and shackles. And so he's able to sing Mizmor David. That's a madrega.
What was the mistake? What was the
Batsheva.
That's
what the Gzeira came.
Avshalom?
That was the Gzeira came that you're going to be attacked by somebody from within your house.
I thought the Gzeira was that the first child died.
That might also be, but this one is it's going to be
one.
Yeah. So I think it's from here that Rabbi Nachman understood this to help. Okay. The Pashup Shah in the pasuk again. David HaMelech says. Let's go back to it. David HaMelech says, right, with this I know that you chose me, Kodesh Baruch Hu, because you did not allow my enemies to triumph over me, to be victorious over me. Yariah, they couldn't blow the trumpets in celebration over their victory over me. I was victorious. Right? Pashup Shah, makes sense. So you see it, Kodesh David says, you chose me. However, you can read it in a different way, in a little bit of a deeper way. Look at the pasuk. I know that you want me. Why? Kilo Yariah oivai alai. Yariah is what? Shoresh. Ra. Even though Yariah means like Hariu la Hashem, means to call out and praise and trumpets and shout to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and that's the Pashup Shot. But Rabbi Nachman says, and we're going to explain, I see another way you could read this pasuk. And maybe this is really what David HaMelech meant. That David HaMelech was saying, I know you chose me because you did not send bad enemies against me. Evil enemies against me. You sent my son. Batsim was not evil. He was doing an evil thing, but David HaMelech was able to see some tov in that. Right? So David HaMelech didn't necessarily need to say, because I fully won the war, only then I'm happy. From the Gemara we see, and now we could read the pasuk in a different way. Even when he's running away, he didn't yet win. He already was able to see in a Nekuda Tova. He was already able to be Mesamech. He was already able to see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had chosen him because it could have been worse. It could have been a bad enemy. Right? But it wasn't a bad enemy. And therefore David HaMelech was able to take a Nekuda Tova out of that. Which is a huge chiddush by David HaMelech, because usually when something bad is happening to us, we only see bad. Someone says, yeah, but there's a Nekuda Tova. I don't care about the Nekuda Tova. This whole thing is collapsing on me. My son's attacking me. What are you going to say? Oh, because he's not a mamzer? Who cares? He's trying to take me out of my place. That's what a normal person would say. David HaMelech wasn't normal. He was in a Madir Madrig. Mizmor David, he's singing. And we know that he wasn't actually happy as he was leaving in a certain way, because the pasuk says that I think the people were crying as they left Yerushalayim. So he was crying over leaving Yerushalayim. He didn't want to leave Yerushalayim, but at the same time, he was still able to see the tov in whatever there was to see. It's mamash amazing. If you remember, Let's go back to our famous oak tag.
Hmm.
So we're gonna say maybe we'll say a little bit of an extra nakuda here. Right, we already had 2 stories. Let's go back. You probably heard this already. We'll say it again. Teacher comes into class with the big white piece of paper.
Long time.
Big white piece of paper. On the white piece of paper, what's there? A black dot. Children, what do you see? You see a black dot. Right? Big white piece of paper, black dot. What do you see? Black dot. The teacher says, you sure? That's all you see? That's all we see, black dot. She's like, what, you don't see the white paper? Right? Why are you focusing on the black, the negativity? See how much good you have in your life. Right? Why are you allowing that to overtake your perspective? So then the kids say, oh, wow, what a lesson. The next week she comes in, big black piece of paper with a white dot. So she says, kids, what do you see? So this time they don't want to get tricked. We see a black piece of paper. Right? They don't get tricked. Last time they messed up because it was supposed to be the white piece of paper they saw. Black piece of paper. Is that all you see? Yeah. We only see a black piece of paper. She's like, you don't see the white dot? Like, what are you talking about? Why are you confusing us? See, sometimes in life, there's a lot of difficulties happening. It's a big black piece of paper. But there has to be some good. Make sure you always see the little good. The white dot amongst the black piece of paper. Yes? Big nakuda, right? See the nakuda tova. Even if a lot's going wrong, make sure to focus on the good. So, some people will say, okay, I get it. But Lamaisa, there's a lot going on bad. You know? The world's collapsing. Tariffs are going to destroy us. You know, China's taking over the world. Their AI is going to like...
settle in the heart. I mean, we know it logically, but it doesn't settle in the heart.
So...
The black dot became the black page. See how big it became the problem? It started as a black dot, now it's the whole thing.
So now we're going to say the complete opposite of what we're learning. So a person says, so what? So I see a white dot and a white black piece of paper. Right? So what? The black piece of paper is still overwhelming. Like how long can that last? So the emes is, pay attention, the white dot on the black piece of paper is only small when you're looking at the white dot from the perspective of the black. If you're living in the black, yeah. So when you see the white dot, okay, it's true. It's a nakuda tova. There is some silver lining here, but it's not overtaking the black because you're living in the black. But if a person is able to not just see the white dot, but to perceive, to be in the perspective of the white dot, to be in the tov. So you're not just seeing the tov, you're in the white dot. All you see is white. And what happens is if you can enter in to the white place, meaning you're focusing only on that. Yeah, there's a lot of black around. There is. But I'm going to try my best. Okay, so we'll speak about this in a minute. It's not easy. But I'm only going to look for the white. Yeah, this is black. I know it's true. I know it's there. It's still there. I'm not ignorant. I'm not an idiot. That was last week's third, right? Stupid versus dumb, right? I know it's there. There's a lot of black. There's a lot of bad stuff. But I'm not going to pay attention to that. Who says I have to pay attention to that? Who says that I have to care about that? Or, of course, the shtadlus you have to do. But who says that I have to pay attention to all the dark stuff in the news? Who said? Who says? So if a person's strong enough, he can be moser nefesh to not look at that, rather focus only on the white dot, you know what happens? It becomes like, I forgot what the fancy word is. It becomes like a spiritual corridor to what? If you look from the perspective of the white dot, you know what you become? The white piece of paper with the black dot. Because if you enter into the world of the white and you focus on the white, then you become, everything's white. Yes, there is black dots there. That's true. I'm not denying. There's some rough stuff in my life, but I'm going to perceive life from the white piece of paper. So even though it started off as one white nakuda, if you really are moser nefesh to enter into that place, then you're living inside the white dot and you're now living on the white piece of paper with the black dots. That's what happens. Back to the original mashal. You understand? That's what can happen if you're able to do that. That's obviously not easy, but that's what can happen. What do you need to do that? How do you go from being in the black, the abyss, seeing one white dot, to mamash living in that place? Did you see Kadosh Baruch Hu chafatzti? if we look at, are we looking at our will or are we looking at Kadosh Baruch Hu's will? All right, well, I'll play into it. Yeah. My will, I want everything to be good. I want everything to go exactly the way I want it to go. It should be comfortable. It should be profitable. It should be sweet, perfect weather. And if it's not, then I'm in the black. You'll say, okay, fine. You're losing money. This thing's not going the way you want. It's a little uncomfortable. But look, the weather's beautiful outside. It's gewalt. You know, it's a nice day. A little white dot on a black piece of paper. No. I agree with you. It is a nice day. But that's not getting me I'm not getting excited from that. Because I have so many other bad things. Because my will is everything should go well. But if you're like David HaMelech, who has the humility, the Muna and Bitachon, to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in everything, and that HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately is always doing things for the best, and I'm trying my best to surrender my will to His will. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, look, yes, there's a lot of black, but don't forget the black's for your best. The black's for your best. You might not like it so much, but it's for your best. But I want to show you, you're going to get sent down to Mitzrayim with some nice spices. Yosef is getting sent down to Mitzrayim with the nice spices on the wagon. Chazal tell us, usually the wagon is filled with disgusting smelling things. But for Yosef Tzaddik, Kadosh Baruch Hu made it that it's sweet smelling spices. Who cares? He's getting sent away from his father for 22 years. His brothers hate him. They tried to kill him. Snakes and scorpions. He's never going to see his family ever again. It's not like you can take a flight back. He's going down to Mitzrayim. No phones. No internet. Game over. His life's done. Who cares about the sweet-smelling spices? Really? It's like a joke. Try telling it to somebody. Try telling somebody who's going through a rough patch. Yeah, but it's a nice day outside. He's gonna punch you. And if he's nice, he's just gonna walk away. We're gonna say some words to you. Right? You should never say that to another person. We're talking about working on ourselves. But what's Chazal telling us then? The answer, why is Chazal telling us about the sweet spices that Yosef went down with? Because that was Yosef's perspective. They're telling us how Yosef saw. Yeah, there's a lot of black stuff going on, but he didn't focus on that. He was just looking for the kichafatz to be. He was just looking for that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had still chosen him. Because if it was pitch and tar and he couldn't find any tov, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave up on him. But if you could find something tov, and you believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're humble enough to know that somehow this is going to be for my best, which Yosef was the master of, as we saw at the end, he told his brothers, this is all for the best. So if you have that perspective, then you'll find the white dot, and you'll live within the white dot. That's all Yosef saw as he went down to Mitzrayim. Hell, his sweet smelling spices. It could have been worse. Ki chafatz to be. You choose me. But people who are not in this mahalach, they're not willing to see the white dots. They'll poo-poo it. The white dot, but so what? It's so small. So what? I have so much black. It takes a Mesiras Nefesh. It's a real Mesiras Nefesh to not focus on the black and to only focus on the white. And then you live in a state of geula. Then you live the happiest life. Because what do most people need? They need everything to go their way. If one thing doesn't, the whole thing, their whole day is off. So they're living in a white oak tag, yet there's one black dot, and they're not happy. So unless everything fits into my perfectly narrow vision of life, if one thing's outside, I can't be happy today. It didn't go my way. So you're living in a Mitzrayim. You're Pashut enslaved to some weird, narrow view of life. But if you could be living in a way where if you only have one good thing going your way, you're happy, you're living in Gula. Because there's always something to be happy about. There's always something if you would look deep enough. You can never not be victorious over the moment. Because you don't need everything to go away. You don't need half the things to go your way. You just need one thing to go your way. And in that, you focus on kichafatz, the Kadosh Baruch Hu desires. Again, humility takes a real anava, takes a real emunah bitachon. But that's what David HaMelech lived. Right? Can you imagine? You're living in a different reality. Most people need everything to go their way. 75% of things that go their way. Definitely more than half. There's no question. Or they're going to be somewhat sad, somewhat upset, bothered. But what David HaMelech is teaching us, what Rabbi Nachman is teaching us, is that doesn't have to be. That's the natural way. That's the body way. If you live the soulful way, All you need is one Nakuda Tova and live in that place. Just focus on that. Again, it's Mesiras Nefesh. The Yitzhak is going to try to take you out. No, how could you be happy with that? You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't love you because 99% of things is your life going wrong. So who cares about that 1%? But the Imam says, but Lamaisa, that 1% is still from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It could have been 100% bad. Must be he still chooses me. Must be there's something bigger going on over here. There must be something good for me. Serious avoda.
Just a quick question. What was the pasuk that Yosef said to his brothers? Or like, when did he say it? When?
At the end of the mice, I'll show you. He said it a few times. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu paved the way. He sent me ahead of you. Dafka, to save you. He saw the whole thing as Tov. It could be that he was working on it. We don't know. But he ended up being the master of Bitachon. And again, that's my understanding of the Chazal teaching us about the sweet smelling spices, because that's what Yosef saw. That's what he perceived. Right? As Rav Chaim Shulevitz calls it like the Neshika. He calls it like the Kisser HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He also talks in with the Pach Shemen. Talks about the oil. Like, so who's so happy? So you found one little jug. Okay, the whole place is in shambles. Yavin destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. It was all tummy. So you found one little thing. Okay, that's very nice. You can light it, but like make a whole holiday out of that. No, the answer is the gufa that we found that 1% that shows Kadosh Baruch Hu Kichafatz to be. That shows that Kadosh really wants us. We're willing to forego the natural will that everything should go my way to see it in a Kadosh Baruch Hu's will, which is at least one thing. Right? So when you make a Kadosh Baruch Hu's will your will, then he'll do whatever you want. He'll do your will. Because your Ratzon really is whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. And you're willing to be happy with even poquito, even a little bit.
It's not really
Doesn't have to be
our will.
grande. What?
Making our will his will. He won't. I mean, it's not him making his will becoming our will, because our will is his will. So it's not like
That's how you
Right.
explain the Mishnah. Mishnah says those words, but that's how you explain it. If you make your will his will, then a Kadosh Baruch Hu will do your will, because your will is his will. So you're being. It's a surrender. It's a bittul. You're being makabel ol malchus shamayim. If you make his will your will, then you live a happy life. Wait, you could want something better than a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants? He designed the concept of happiness. He's the creator of happiness. How could you think that what you want will bring you more happiness than what he does? It might not be the immediate satisfaction and happiness that you would like, but the deeper rooted happiness takes time. But we have to go one more step further. So first of all, just to understand the Nakuda, two Nakudas. Number one, in this way of reading Tehillim, that David HaMelech was besimcha from the fact that his enemies were not bad, that his enemy was a son. That was said before David HaMelech was even victorious. Right? It wasn't that David HaMelech needed to be dafka victorious over the whole event to then say, oh, Kadosh Baruch Hu chose me. That's the chiddush here. In any moment that you see the tov, in a certain way, that's like the victory. And therefore you can already be happy then. You don't have to wait to the end. Some people, okay, Alvin, when are we talking? But I'm only going to be happy when the thing actually works out. Okay, I'll wait. But I can't be happy until that happens. No, the avoda of when we're talking is you can be happy even in the now. Again, it's not about, it is about your happiness. It is about your happiness. You could choose to be happy now.
that's Hashem's will for us to be happy.
100%. Because he wants you to be a big boy. And big boys are mature. And mature boys don't need to get everything they want. Because big boys understand that sometimes the big brother, Kadosh Baruch Hu, knows better than we know. But one more nakuda, I think this is, even almost a bigger chiddush, and this is what Rabbi Nachman points out. It's a fascinating. David HaMelech is saying, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you chose me because the enemy that you've chosen to attack me was not Ra. It was my son, at least. Right? Baruch Hashem. How did, at that moment when David saw Avshalom, or when I don't know how exactly he perceived Avshalom, but we know he didn't say he was Ra. He didn't want Yoav, his general, to kill him, which Yoav did kill him, And David was upset about it. It's all an interesting thing. But clearly, David wasn't seeing him as Ra. He wasn't deserving of death in some way, even though. But the words of Rabbi Nachman, again, the fact that my enemies are not bad, they're not evil, he's also like David Melech. He's seeing in the moment that the enemies are not evil. It could have been worse. It could have been worse, and it's not. I see a tov in that. Rabbi Nachman adds one extra line. Ki tzadikim cholkom alai. Tzadikim are being cholok on me. I don't know exactly who he's referring to. There's at least two people I know. But these tzadikim who are going after Rabbi Nachman were vicious. They were really going after him. Right? In a certain way to destroy him. Not to kill him, chas v'shalom, but to say that people shouldn't follow them. Rabbi Nachman, not only is he able to see in it good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent not evil people, but he's calling them tzaddikim. David HaMelech said the enemies are not ra. They're not bad. In that I see a tov. Rabbi Nachman has the amazing amunah and bitachon to say, even though they're attacking me and it's a vicious attack, I still can call them tzaddikim. Huh? You could say. You're saying it's the same madrega. But imagine this. This is such a madrega. I'm not telling anybody to... This is a high madrega. You could have an enemy against you, and not only are you thinking of Kadosh Baruch Hu that it could have been worse, but you're still holding that person to be called a tzaddik. That's beyond.
You didn't say tzaddik emes.
I was about to say tzaddik.
Okay.
Some tzaddik make mistakes.
First, he was the tzaddik emes, so. But still, can you imagine to call them tzaddikim? You kind of have to, be in that position. Have you ever had anybody you get into a fight with anybody, machlokas or somebody? You're not even calling them nice names. You're calling them not nice names. And here he's Rabbi Nachman called them tzaddikim. It's a mamash madrega. Again, the anava, the humility, the emunah b'tachon, to see that this is what a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, and a Kadosh Baruch Hu is using this person as a messenger. So therefore, unless it was something that was, I guess, mamish against the Torah or something that he should be called the Rasha for, Rabbi Nachman was refused to say anything negative. That's a madrega. Bezos yadati, says Rabbi Nachman, bezos yadati ki chafatz bi. I see that you want me. Even though this tzaddik who's coming against me is attacking me. And then, like I said in the beginning, you might say, listen, if a low-level guy is attacking, so then, Kleinigkeit, nobody cares about this loser who's attacking Rabbi Nachman or one of us. But if a tzaddik's attacking us, that sounds like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is attacking us. He's the tzaddik. Everybody holds him as being the word of God. And he's attacking, this is bad news. But Rabbi Nachman says, because I see the emes, right? And I understand that everything is mamish exactly what it's supposed to be, and it's for the best. So even the fact that the tzaddik is coming against me won't make me move from that. Even though a big person is coming against me, and that's going to be a vicious attack, because now a lot of Klal Yisrael is going to attack me, I still see tov in that it could have been worse. It could have been worse. If I say ki chafatz because you chose me, and the Rabbi Nachman stayed above that. At the end of the day, Rabbi Nachman was victorious. Look whose Torahs are spreading like wildfire. Ki chafatz bi, you chose me, and that's the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu chose Rabbi Nachman, because he lived that way in his life, and now he's continuing to choose him now. And we're learning the Torah, and we're now gaining chizik from that Rabbi Nachman didn't lower himself. He held himself very high. He was seeing from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's perspective. He was seeing from the perspective within the white dot. He was seeing the perspective from living in the white paper. But the black dots, they're there. But they're not, you don't pay attention to that. Because when you have a big white oak taking so much good, you don't focus on any of the bad. Madrega is to live by. So then that's a life of gula, a life of redemption, a life of simcha, a life of yeshiva das. Nothing can stop you. Right? Okay.
Exactly.